to drink coffee without milk? Because right now I like it with milk. So he's explaining why some people like it with milk or need milk.
And the point of milk is hopefully to enhance a flavor versus hiding a flavor. And if you're going to hide a flavor, that's a bad thing. It's enhancing that you want. So just like in anything, if the basic product is made well, it tastes good, I've done my job right, the coffee doesn't need to be hid, it needs to be enhanced. So if you're doing a plain espresso, if the espresso is brewed right, so if you're looking at grind size, temperature of the water, the amount of time, the brew ratio, if it's done right, it will taste well-rounded and sweet versus watery and bitter.
Okay.
And so that's one of the kind of things you think about. And you're thinking of bitterness, think of dark chocolate bitterness versus milk chocolate sweetness.
Okay.
In the end, it's coffee. Coffee has to have a certain level of bitterness. So that's what we're going to play with. And this great machine is going to hopefully help us.
So do you think I should start tasting coffee before I put in milk to see if I enjoy
Yes,
it?
that's the most important thing. Because in the end, you probably do milk. Because milk and all those lovely things are purely out of comfort and
habit.
Well. Exactly. So if you actually stop doing that and just go, okay, I'm going to taste it without, then you may actually do like the taste of it without. Again, there's nothing wrong with putting milk in it, especially fresh whole milk. Fresh whole milk can add a sweetness. It's like cappuccinos. That's why cappuccinos and lattes are so great.
Yeah.
If you have fresh whole milk, cold, steamed, and foamed correctly, you get it basically elevates the flavor of the coffee. It's like baking. Or folding the creaminess of that milk into the coffee, it elevates and highlights certain things that you may not have been there before. Okay, so most important of all things is the grind of the coffee. You can technically use any coffee to make espresso. So there's no such thing as espresso roast. You have coffees can be roasted from light to dark. You just may have to vary the grind and the amounts used to brew the espresso.
Okay.
Okay. So first up, we're going to talk about the grinder. So the grind is the single most important thing starting off with espresso. Why? The fineness of the grind will allow the ability for the hot water of the espresso machine to extract all the good qualities of the espresso. If the grind is too fine, it's going to jerk and not. The water can't get through it. If it's too coarse, it gets really watery. So that's why the grinder is the first thing that everyone must look at. And our grinders are always perfectly calibrated at every single bag of coffee we use to ensure we get that exact grind.
So I can pick one grind for the rest of my life?
No. Literally, depending on the grind, literally two things happen. One, how much coffee you're making, the freshness of the coffee, and the type of coffee. Because here's one thing people don't seem to understand is that, especially in a blend, you have maybe 4 or 5 different coffees, 3 or 4 different coffees in a blend. Each one of them is roasted differently. So they actually will all have a different density after being roasted. So, in that being sense of that, or more another blend may have completely different set of coffee. So, like our Subo blend, right now we have 3 different types of Africans in it, and they're going to by nature have a different density than say our Dawn Patrol blend. So that's why if you were to change between those 2 blends, you would have to adjust the grinder to suit. So, always check your grinds. The first thing any professional barista does.
Yeah, so you have to do it yourself? Like how long?
There are 2 things you need to understand. If you're dealing with a professional espresso machine, that's one thing that you always have to know. You have to have a professional grinder.
Okay.
If you're doing this at home and you're having one of those blade grinders are great if you're not trying to get any form of consistency.
Okay.
So they're really bad.
That's terrible.
But if you could shake it like if you could shake it, because what's happening is that one side of the coffee is going to the actual ground coffee, well, the grounds will be different sizes, so which means you're going to get inadequate or an uneven extraction because the coffee bits are smaller are going to get brewed faster than the bits that are too big, which is why you get uneven extraction. So what do I mean by uneven extraction? It just means you're not getting the full flavor of the coffee that you want, and may lead you to either using more coffee than you need. So it's wasteful.
So in that case, I should just buy ground coffee?
You should buy, well, from us, our ground coffee is perfectly ground, so it's individual, so it's standard. Or you can get a great little hand grinder, like up there, and you can hand grind it so it's consistent. All you're looking for is a consistent size grind. Consistency is key in everything to do with espresso. Because once you're consistent, you can then evaluate and find ways to make it better than what you're finding. Okay? So grind size is extremely important. After that, we then get to water temperature. What most people don't seem to understand is that water acts as it's chemistry. Water acts as a solvent.
Right.
The temperature of the water actually will affect what is actually taken out, or the brew process is affected by the temperature of the water. If it's too cool, not enough will come out. If it's too hot, too much will come out. That's why you should get a kettle, can stand, so a good working kettle will boil at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's basically standard. But the difference between 200 and 205 will be a big difference in the taste of the coffee. Obviously, darker roasted coffees, you don't need it to be as hot. If you use lighter roasted coffees, you may want it to be a little hotter, just so it can extract more. And then again, it changes.
I get that.
Right?
Okay.
But it's important. And again, I always say err on getting a little hotter water than on water that's too cold. Because water that's too cold will always under extract. And also, always remember that it has to take a little time after the brewing process. So when you get the coffee, it's going to be maybe a minute or a minute and a half after you brew it. So you don't want to start off too cool. If it's too cool, by the time you get it, coffee's cool and flavorless. Right? All things coffee. So weigh everything.
Okay.
Why? Weighing allows you to have a reference of what goes right and what goes wrong. So you start off with the same amount of coffee every single time, you should get the same flavor every single time. One of the key problems I always have is like, the coffee doesn't taste good. Why not? Which coffee are you using? I'm using this coffee. Okay. Well, how much coffee do you use? 3 scoops. How much is a scoop? I don't know. Then how am I to know how to help you? So if you weigh everything, it's good. So we start off with weighing. There you go. So put it in.
Oh, back again? Oh, but why can't I do it back again?
It's alright. So just hold it.
Is it like that?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Alright. Gonna knock it.
So what you're gonna do is literally just.
Is that better than last time?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Look at that.
So let's know what's weight though.
Okay.
Okay, 16 grams. You want 18 grams. Get rid of any clumps.
Okay.
Alright? Okay, now you can use it. Push down. Push it all the way in, and then just turn it.
Oh boy. This is fancy. Oh!
There you go. No, turn it upside down. Not that. Ready?
Woohoo! So it's got to be compact.
It's got to be compact.
Okay.
A lot of people spend a lot of time worrying about tamping, but they don't. It's once it's decent, you're fine. Pull over.
Okay. Woo!
That
That's not your nice machine.
It's okay.
Help me. I'll do that next time.
Okay, grab a cup.
Okay.
Now, if you notice, we're starting at 93.5 degrees.
Celsius.
So the Celsius, that's a great temp to start at. So let's go.
Oh.
Taste
Smell
it
it. Taste it. I still need milk, but it's nice. like it.
So how do you judge your espresso? The most important thing is to understand the amount of water used and also a visual cue. Obviously the crema of the espresso, which is the emulsification of the CO2 gas, which is a byproduct of the roasting process.
Yeah.
The crema will tell you immediately, okay, is it good or bad? In the end, crema should be thick, it should be dense, and it should be like a caramel kind of color, dark caramel kind of color. It's most important. If it's thin and watery, it just means your grind is wrong, because that means it's not brewed correctly. Okay. So, one of my big problems that people don't seem to understand, just as much as they put as much effort in choosing the best coffee, if you don't choose the right milk, you can't expect your coffee to taste good. So you always use fresh whole milk, because fresh whole milk, if done right, has a good sweetness to it, has a good proteins and fattiness to it, which tastes nice when you add it to coffee. Okay. Now the most important to understand is that milk is also an ingredient. So you have to treat it carefully and correctly, and you get great tasting things. If you don't, most important, don't ever overheat the milk. Overheating the milk will burn the milk, it makes it taste bad.
Yep.
So, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with that. Your steam pitcher, cold milk. We're gonna submerge your, over here.
Okay.
And slightly put that there.
Yep.
What I'm gonna ask you to do is don't move it.
Okay.
Okay? Keep your hand underneath, because your hand underneath is gonna tell the temperature. So we're gonna turn that on. Slowly lower. Keep on rolling.
So you've got to do it until it's almost too hot to touch?
I'd say, well, basically, yeah, if it's too hot to touch or if it's uncomfortable, it's the right temperature. If it's too hot, if it burns your hand, it's going to burn your mouth.
Okay.
And there's nothing worse than burning your mouth.
All right.
And you always wipe afterwards. Now, we've frothed the milk, and you notice how it's kind of like matte and all a bit bubbly?
Yes.
What we want to do is give it a little bit of a bang.
Okay.
You're a professional surfer. Give it a little bit more of a bang.
I don't want it to spill. Okay.
There you go.
How's that? No, you did.
Ready? Guess we have something. No. I want you to just basically swirl it. And a little bit of motion like that. And see how it's now getting mixed together?
You can smell it now too.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what we're trying to achieve. This way it's pliable. So now we can do latte art.
Okay.
So
See,
where's your cup?
I didn't know that. I didn't
There
know
you
you had to
go.
play around with it. Like,
No, it's nice and creamy.
okay.
Right, so guess where's your cup?
That's interesting. All right, right here.
There you go. So what we're gonna do is hold it like that. Ready?
Yes. Just, ooh. Ah, it's so cool. It's actually really nice.
Is it? And you notice it needs no sugar now.
Nope.
Because if you've
Never.
heated the milk correctly, you've highlighted the natural sugars, and so it's nice.